Hello, all you folks out there in YouTube land. Sanji Himura with Lord Crocosquirrel here.
Really? You're gonna steal my thing? If you're gonna steal my thing, at least do it. If you're gonna steal my thing, at least do it right. It's hello, all you folks out there in YouTube land. Get it straight.
Okay, script, people, script.
What script? You did not give me a script, sir. I don't have to obey a script I don't have.
That was more toward me. Ha.
Bite me.
Today on the W2 Report, we have a trilogy of stories for you today, starting with the Kotaku signal. And we're going to analyze the Kotaku review for both the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox One. Second story of the day will be Ubisoft.
How about we wait and tell them about that when we get there? Let's do Kotaku first.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
The Kotaku thing is actually two stories, and they are both sad and hilarious in turn.
Yes, welcome everybody to the W2 Report Live. This, as a general note, we have reasons why we couldn't get this one out last week, and one of them, we have a sick co-host, and second,
that would be me. I have been very ill over the last while. I'm still not quite over it. I won't sound the way I do normally because freaking reasons. No, it is not the coup. We already asked about that.
Yeah, and the only reason why we didn't get it out Thursday was because my service provider happened to
be vile.
He wanted to be performing an upgrade on my entire house.
Oh, dear.
That took all goddamn day. So, welcome to the W2 Report Live.
Only a week late.
Only a week late for November the 15th, 2020. Welcome everybody to the stream. So let's start with the PlayStation 5, the Kotaku review.
Let's refresh everybody's memory real quick first. I'm pretty sure they all know this, but we might as well go over the details. The PlayStation 5 is Sony's newest version. It is its newest console in the PlayStation line. It succeeds the PlayStation 4 because it is PlayStation 4 plus 1. And it's going to be about and Sony claims it'll be about 3 years-ish before they get completely moved over to the PS5. Which is about par with what they did to the PlayStation 3. So, hooray, hooray, hooray. Expect the PlayStation 4 will be considered obsolete for about 4 years before we see the PlayStation 6. And it comes in two versions, a $499 for disc version with a disc drive in it, and a $399 version without one.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's pretty much the whole thing in a nutshell. The Xbox Series X and Series S, pretty much the same deal. Not a whole lot of difference. There's a bunch of difference in the design, however. And most of what we've got going on here, or part of what we have going on here, at least half of it, is actually about design. And yeah, we're going to get into the article. Let's get the article.
Yes, let's do it. Let me do a thing here first. And
oh, wait. Let us for a moment pause and let everyone go get their oven mitts and popcorn. Wherein popcorn is the same as whiskey. or something similarly strong, because the level of stupid is extreme.
And
that's right, folks. Both of these are supposed to be reviews of their consoles.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, a lot of this is about shoddy journalism.
Yes, and we're gonna tear that apart right now because here's the article for
And yes, by the way, I'm being charitable. That's the best word I can come up with for these things.
Right. So, Ian Walker, before we do, let's stop a bit and lay down some ground rules.
You should have done that before he started talking.
Yep.
That was a while ago.
Yes, that is
that's
true.
on the Sanji.
That is true. Let us lay down some ground rules. 1, do not antagonize the target of this week's video. 2, obey rule number 1. Basically, what's happening here is Mr. Ian Walker decides to ask a very intriguing question. How can anyone at this very moment in time review the PlayStation 5?
My opinion, it's actually really easy. You get it out of the box, you plug it into whatever device you happen to have handy that will display the output. Play with the games a little bit. Listen for the fan, all the other nifty shit that you would do if you're doing a tech breakdown, and then write about that. Why are you even asking the question? Why would anybody give you the frickin' hardware if you're just going to ask that question? Who in their right mind is doing this? Who at Kotaku dropped the frickin' ball and gave you that piece of hardware? I want to know this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Please, somebody explain to me how that works in any way, shape, or form. Right, moving on.
And we start with the basics. The PlayStation 5 launched Thursday, November 12th.
It did. And in fact, a lot of people have bought up the lion's share of the supply. And there's one guy even on eBay trying to sell his for north of $210,000. Because why the fuck not? If nobody buys it at that price, then he gets to keep it. And if somebody does buy it at that price, then he gets to buy anything he wants for a couple of years after taxes, of course. But the average going rate for a PlayStation 3 right now is about $1,300 on the eBay. Don't do that. Because there will be Sony is about to dump a bunch of supply on the freaking market, and the units that have been bought up by trolley bots issued up by the lovely folks that are scalping, being entrepreneurs, some people say. No, this is scalping because you're buying an MSRP and then jacking the rates up by at this point at least triple.
Mm-hmm.
Those people are going to have a problem here very, very, very soon.
Right.
Because with a huge glutton supply, guess what happens to value? Guess what happens to the prices?
They tank.
Yep, they're going to go down sharpish. Where you're going to wind up paying $400 or $500 for a piece of hardware that you're not going to be able to sell for $5 because everybody can go out and get them at the regular price.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to get a whole new level of scalping when people buy those things. When people buy up the depressed versions on eBay, probably for well under the $500 asking price for the disc version, and then go back and sell them on eBay something just slightly less than the retail price.
Hmm.
And thus make a bunch of money.
Yeah.
So that's not getting the article covered, however.
Nope. And
Oh, don't skip that one. Don't go, scroll back a little bit. In many ways, the PlayStation 5 feels like a significant upgrade from the PlayStation 4. Then the PlayStation 4 did coming from the PlayStation 3. This guy actually did get the system out and play with it for a little bit. But yeah, he apparently didn't play very much with the PlayStation 3 because the 4 was a significant upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they haven't been able to create any kind of backwards compatibility, the PlayStation 4 was still very much the superior machine to the PlayStation 3.
Right.
And having spent a lot of time with PlayStation 3s with PlayStation machines over the last 20 odd years, I can tell you each iteration tends to be a significant upgrade. If the PlayStation 5 was not a significant upgrade from the PlayStation 4, it wouldn't be worth anybody's time, trouble, or money.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, he's stating the blatantly obvious, or what should be, or what should be expected. He's praising PAR at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But it does actually give us an indication he actually got the machine out of the fracking box and actually fired the damn thing up.
I don't know. I don't know, because he says later on, I still have no idea what teraflop is, and I refuse to learn.
Well, see, that's actually a problem. You know, billions, actually trillions of floating point operations are kind of a neat thing. The problem, of course, is that it's never actually a true representation of performance, because there are other methods that you can use than the number of to improve performance above and beyond how many trillions of floating point operations per second you can actually do. The PlayStation 5 is not as robust in that department as the Xbox Series X. However, they've done everything they can to optimize seek and loading time so that you can actually do more things in real time.
Right.
And in engine. I have actually seen a PlayStation 5 torn down, and the heatsink on that thing with the fan, a thing of freaking beauty. Holy shit, that thing is huge. A good chunk of the reason why the PlayStation 5 is as large as it is was so that it can accommodate a monster of a heatsink.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at a guess, I'd say about 2/3 of the internal space is occupied by the heatsink and the fan. And more than 2/3 of that is the freaking heatsink. It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Sony was not playing.
No,
and actually the shape of the machine is such that it optimizes airflow across that heatsink.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, moving on. What else is he going to say about it?
Let's see here. Sony provided with a retail PlayStation 5 2 weeks ago, as of time of the writing of the review,
which was shortly before release.
Mm-hmm. And he spent those 2 weeks playing Spider-Man Miles Morales in Astro's Playroom,
as opposed to Ratchet and Clank.
Mm-hmm. And he's transferred over his entire PlayStation 4 library and saves, which was super easy, but the benefits for which remain hazy from game to game.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Most of it's going to be graphical. Most of it's going to be graphical compatibility upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
given that the PlayStation 5 uses a somewhat modified version of the PlayStation 4's operating system, which might as well be Linux.
Mm-hmm. Also, he's also wondered if anyone has enough energy to care about, let alone the means to buy, $500 electronics anymore.
Obviously, this is true. Apparently people do. They apparently, a $500 piece of hardware. That's great if most people could get them. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem that's actually going to be a thing, because we had a shitload of bots that bought up that bought up 90 somewhere between 90 and 95% of the supply. So yeah.
Well, be quiet, please.
So yeah, especially in case of pandemic, hardware and software sales for video games have gone through the fracking roof. Why? Because what the fuck else are you gonna do? I mean, there's only so much time you can spend playing with the children before they annoy the shit out of you. Hell, the children are probably asking for the PlayStation 5 because they want to play Spider-Man.
Right.
Or Ratchet and Clank. I'm actually kind of looking forward to that Ratchet and Clank game. I want to see that. I want to see that shit in action.
Yeah. Kotaku staff has joked about being able to use the detachable plastic plates as riot shields if the U.S. presidential election makes that a necessity. Oh boy, we got ourselves
we now have our second political reference, because that crack about the $500 piece of hardware was in fact an allusion to one. But why does this belong in here? Where is that coming from? Yes, I understand that could be that's the joke.
Mm-hmm.
One, it's not big enough for a riot shield. Even if it were, that plastic is not going to hold up well like that. There's a reason they use plexiglass for riot shields, or metal. So what the hell are we doing? What the hell are you guys talking about here? Okay, it's fine to make a joke, but really, you had to go there.
Yeah.
This tells me more about Kotaku and its corporate culture than anything else.
Right.
Never mind. The last I heard, they were getting shit on.
Yeah. Let's see here. Over the last couple of weeks, he had to wipe it down what feels like a dozen times to make it look pristine.
Okay, first off, if your shit looks pristine, then you're using it wrong. Since he's already gone to the whole riot shields and presidential elections, let me give you another one. This one for military. Mm-hmm. No inspection ready combat unit. No inspection ready unit is fit for combat. And no unit in combat has ever passed inspection. You're either using the damn thing or you're not. And if you want to keep it looking pristine, making it look like you're actually not bothering with it, then that's the price. That's the cost of doing business, isn't it? Don't spill your coffee on the damn thing. Keep it away from the coffee. That's it. That's all you got to do. Glossy finishes making a perfect trap for Dustin Lint. Well, okay. First off, that's not exactly going to be true. It'll look like that, certainly, but ultimately, the reason you're getting Dustin Lint in that neighborhood is because you're drawing in air, and Dustin Lint exists in the air. No, fucking concept. What did I say a minute ago about combat, about inspection ready units not being prepared for combat? Yeah. That doesn't change.
If you're looking, okay.
Oh, you live in you live out in the fucking desert, dude. The hell were you expecting? The fact that you live in California is problematic in and of itself. My opinion, of course, and I'm entitled to those. But if you live in a dusty region, then maybe you should be taking some sort of effort to keep the air in that room clean, or at least putting some sort of a barrier around it so that it doesn't get all dusty like that. Just find some way to ventilate it. That's all.
Yeah.
Or at least vent the heat that's going to be generated from such a thing. Either that or get used to cleaning it, which you should probably do anyway every once in a while.
Opal is wondering, where did we find this article? The bottom of the birdcage? Yeah, we did.
Actually, no, we did not. We actually found this one in a sewer. If only because the bird wouldn't use it. The bird couldn't be bothered.
Oh no, it gets worse, Opal.
Well, actually, I'm almost certain the bird has actually actively refused to use that as birdcage liner. It made us replace it with the Sunday New York Times before it had bothered to shed on it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. If you're looking for a video game console that's going to blend into the scenery, this is not it.
Of course not. It's not supposed to be. Sony went for pretty, and they did a wonderful job of making it pretty. If they wanted to blend in, they would have made it look, and they would have made the look something not dissimilar to what the PlayStation 4 is, or the Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
Or for that matter, the Xbox Series S.
Let's see here.
So, get bent?
Yeah.
Can we go with that? Yeah, I think we're going to go with get bent.
Let's see here.
The PS5 interface is the product. Actually, no, it really isn't. The product is the hardware. The software on board is an afterthought. At least 90% of the time, you've got a basic OS with just kind of that's been all prettied up, and from what I've heard, it's not that much different from the one developed for the PlayStation 4. Therefore, yes, there were some updates for drivers and shit like that, so that you could actually operate all of the fun things, and that's why you needed a separate patch for the PlayStation 5. But beyond that, it's really not going to be that much different.
Right.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, the crossbar that was used in the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation Portable they were more or less duplicated. They changed that up for the Vita, and we still have a variation of the crossbar on the PlayStation 4. All they did was rearrange it.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't actually a big fan on the Vita. I wasn't a big fan of the little pushy screen button thing. But you know what? Still worked. Did the job.
Mm-hmm.
Then they discarded that process for right along with the Vita, I might add, which is a lovely little machine. I still have a couple of them. Can we? Okay. Demon Souls routinely come with 180 something or others. So this actually turns out to be This actually kind of turns out to be something where we can actually prove he had anything to do with the machine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you would expect to have to clean your machine. Why wouldn't you? In fact, if you don't do this, you're only causing more problems than you're solving.
Right.
And no, I'm not turning in my PS4 Pro for a PlayStation 5. I refuse. I could realistically do exactly that. I don't wanna. But I could realistically do that. I don't actually own any of the games that didn't wind up being compatible. So all of my PlayStation 4 games would work fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not doing anything. I wouldn't even consider doing anything of the sort for some time anyway.
Right.
Moving on. Carry on. What do we got?
Let's see. The built-in DVR saves up to an hour of footage while you play.
Oh, goody. Except that the PlayStation 4 has that too.
Mm-hmm.
But you are still subject with the PlayStation 5 as the PlayStation 4 with bits and pieces of cutscenes and etc. being blocked, especially in late games, late in the game, whatever game you happen to be playing.
Let's see here.
Most of the PlayStation 4 is in fact isn't likely to be backwards compatible. It is. There's a list of like 10 games total that won't be moved, that can't be moved.
Right.
We already mentioned the thing with the whatchamacallit there. The SSD, which they use to reduce seat times to nothing.
Right.
And the frame rate section. Frame rates are going to be based on the games, not the hardware itself, typically. And and that will largely depend on what game, etc. What's more with feeling?
There's a tangent about Dune.
I think we could probably safely skip that bit.
Yep, we can.
Especially since he start talking about Dune rather than Doom. But does it really matter?
3,000 words of hot air.
And he says it's a good video game console. Now here's the bullshit. Now we're going to go with the bullshit part. And this is why we wanted to have a look at this thing to begin with.
Yep. Let's see here. It's
insulting. But I'd be remiss to ignore all the reasons not to be excited for the PlayStation 5. Okay, fine. You're talking about the COVID-19 pandemic here, and whilst that is a significant part of the news cycle at this point, except of course when they're throwing parties in the street with both with and without masks about Joe Biden being declared the winner by the Associated Press.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's gonna end well. Trust me, that's gonna end super, super well.
And
especially in places like DC and New York City.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody bothered to stop to think to actually tell these people to stop doing this. What's up with that?
Mm-hmm. And they're saying our healthcare system is an inherently evil institution.
which is not true. It is actually focused on markets, which are by their definition amoral.
Mm-hmm.
The markets themselves are amoral. They don't have or subscribe to ideologies. And that's all there is to that. I mean, if you really want them to subscribe to an ideology, I suppose you could probably work out a way to do that. But really? a market is merely a large collection of individuals trying to get ahead. And I'd be willing to bet he has more than a little bit of money in some sort of market account.
Yep.
In fact, I'd be shocked if he didn't. Since this guy gets paid in excess of $100K a year to print this dribble.
Also, as he is writing this, and he takes a stab at Donald Trump again.
Okay, first off, a sitting president is a sitting president. You guys have been taking pot shots at him for 5 years now. Maybe it's time to back up a bit. Okay.
Mm-hmm. The harsh truth is that for reasons listed above and more. Oh, there's more? Why don't you tell us, author? And he goes, a lot of people won't be able to buy a PlayStation 5 regardless of supply, or if they can, concerns over the increasing austerity in... I can't talk English today. Austerity in the United States and the growing threat of widespread political violence supersede any enthusiasm about the console's SSD or how ray tracing makes reflections more realistic. Ooh, boy. That's not
My question is, why did you go to the trouble of writing some 3,000 words discussing the PlayStation 5 and then turn around and try and get people to not buy it because politics?
Mm-hmm.
This is fucking ridiculous. And the sad part of it is you wrote that the entire thing weighs almost 5,000 words. You spent almost as long talking about the reasons you shouldn't buy one as you spent going over all the things that you actually needed in the review. You could have cut the review off at that 3,000 word mark and called it an afternoon. My question, of course, is where the fuck are your editors? The people that actually have the future of the company in mind.
Oh, they're busy making jokes about the detachable thing to being a riot shield.
Yeah. Okay, this is not the way you do business unless you want to be not doing business anymore. Because there's only so much clickbait you can do.
Right.
Okay, some people actually read all the way to the ends of articles, expecting that you're going to try and hide something. Sony will most definitely be reading to the ends of articles, and I guarantee you that somebody at Sony is very unhappy.
Exactly.
Why for you stab yourself in the ass unless you're expecting to not have a job anyway? Oh, right, because Kotaku is actually failing for the most part. You guys have been bleeding money, and this is not the way you this is not the way you turn that around. So, let's say we swap off of this, since we already know he's oh, right. Sony and Microsoft chose a ball of a time to release their next generation consoles. You expected them to lose money by sitting on a whole bunch of supply for 5 years? That's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Why would that work? Why would you even think that could work?
Exactly.
Okay. So you want Sony to spend another $1 billion holding up supply while you do what?
Exactly.
Or while a pandemic can't burn itself out because nobody's being allowed to achieve herd immunity? Did I miss something here?
Nope. Anyway.
The short version of this is that Sony released this object on a schedule that has been that has been absolutely unchangeable now for at least a year. If they were going to delay the PlayStation 5, they should have done that last September. Not September 2020, September 2019.
Mm-hmm.
September of 2019, in case anybody missed it, was before the COVID-19 pandemic really blew up. Depending on your sources, it may have been that may have been somewhere near the time that the first cases started appearing in China.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't actually confirm that.
Okay. Now,
let's move on to our next abomination.
amen.
Because that could be fun. Because if we don't, we're going to have a bitch of a time getting through the other stories.
Yep. And speaking of that, we have our next abomination comes courtesy of Ubisoft.
Nope. We still have the other Kotaku article.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We still have the really egregious Kotaku article.
Oh. Didn't get a chance to read that.
Xbox Series X, dude. Come on, let's do it.
Okay, here we go.
Xbox Series X, the Kotaku review.
Oh my gosh.
Scroll down.
Okay.
Might as well scroll down now.
Let's see here.
You got to read the first part.
The Xbox Series X does not feel like the kind of machine we usually get at the start of a new generation. We're used to clean breaks with radical new hardware that basically starts our time with a PlayStation, Xbox, or Nintendo device over. Instead, the Series X feels like another version of Microsoft's last console, the Xbox One. Feels like a much more powerful Xbox One with striking new look, blazing fast load times, and an extra button on its controller. For many reasons, it's the very best Xbox One.
Okay. This is actually about the Xbox Series X. We're very proud of this young lady for having done something.
Oh, you mean guy?
Most likely, she opened the box and then closed it again.
We have a guy. Mike Foley wrote the article.
Who?
Mike Foley wrote the article.
That looks like a Twitter post.
Nope.
Scroll down to the bottom here for a second. Keep going.
Okay.
All the way down. Because this is not the same article we were talking about.
It's not. Sure?
This is not the same article.
The Kotaku review.
This isn't the same article. Wait a minute. Scroll down more. Go back to where we were a minute ago. No.
Originally published Thursday, November 5th, re-upped for launch day.
Yeah, because the original article was entirely about somebody's aversion to holes in things. There was no additional information, and this isn't even the same author.
Nope. Looks like editors jumped in on this particular article, but not the PlayStation 5 one.
Well, the PlayStation 5 one did actually cover the PlayStation 5 in general. So it wasn't actually that wasn't as much of a huge problem. They left all the political, they just kicked all the political shit down to the end as opposed to the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, I would have left that shit out if I was the editors. But this Xbox Series X article isn't the same one. Let's go down to the bottom of the Xbox Series X article and see if the original text is still there.
Nope.
Scroll up. Wait. Quick resume. No, they actually killed the old art. Looks like they killed the old article.
Let me see if I can't pull it up on Archive IS real quick.
Yeah, let's do that. Because what the holy fuck? Because that's not the article I read.
Okay. November 8th.
When?
November 8th. November 8th, 2020. At
Okay.
12:30.
Pull that, because
Mike Farley.
Oh, that's again that's still not the article I saw. Because it was there a couple days ago and this shit was nowhere to be found.
Mm-hmm. Looks like an editor stepped in here.
Hold it. Scroll back up a little bit. No, okay. Now we look like morons because somebody stealth edited this piece. Scroll down. Because the article I saw was about this stupid lady being terrified of holes.
Yeah, they stealth edited it, and when they got caught, they added that little bit saying that they re-upped it. They basically killed the original review.
Wow, I'm impressed. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can't find a thing for this. Because I know.
Got it.
Oh, you found it, did you?
Yep, archive.org. They saved it 8 times.
Oh. Let's get.
Let's close that out. That's the.
Hold on, might be a little bit of noise here. Let me see if they. Where'd it go? The Xbox Series X has too many holes and will trigger people with trypophobia, supposed fear of tiny little holes.
Oh, wow.
And this was from 5 days ago, so we're looking at the 9th.
Okay.
That's the PlayStation 5 review. I am looking to see if they actually put the let's see.
Yeah, no, we look like fools.
No, we don't. Copy.
Anyway, what?
Oh, here we go. I found the correct link from the 5th of November. Let me just grab you this here because this was the original Kotaku review.
Oh yes. I was thinking it was the other one.
This was published on the 5th of November, was supposed to be the review, and then they went back and they wrote another one.
Mainly because Microsoft got pissed.
Most likely. But this was the original review by a lady called Ash Parrish. As reviews for the Xbox Series X arrive, I'm here to talk about one aspect of the console that could impact your desire to buy one, as it has mine. I'm a trypophobe and I cannot own an Xbox Series X because of all of its damned holes. What?
The unholy fuck. Yeah. We will share the link to this in the description as soon as I can update it. Because this was 9 miles of bullshit. Apparently they actually got somebody else they worked somebody else in to go do the thing here. Mind you, scroll down to the bottom. Right there. This is Ash Parrish. Kotaku staff writer, fan fiction novelist, and unapologetically black. Why should you be apologizing for being black? And why is this important? Mm-hmm. Why? That's the question we're all having.
Why? Why would this was actually published? Now, being aware, of course, that the Xbox that the PlayStation 5 has all kinds of holes in it, you just can't see them because a job was done of concealing them. Okay, what you're looking at there is a vent. The idea here at that end of the console is to move air through the console. What do you think you're doing? Okay, moving right along. Let's go to our next. Let's go to our next abusive existence.
Okay.
This is the Ubisoft one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's right. But I do want to make
one more piece of information. For those of you who are looking for an Xbox Series S, expect to have room for 1 or maybe 2 games on board. Especially if you like to play Call of Duty games.
Mm-hmm.
Because the 0.5 terabyte drives that's included with those S units is over a quarter eaten
mm-hmm.
by this fun thing called an operating system.
Yeah. Also,
120 plus gigabytes worth of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, that wouldn't make it much different from the Xbox Series X, or excuse me, not the Series X, the Xbone.
Mm-hmm. All right, time to take this away. On one final note, Philip Mewson managed to make a comment. but that is neither here nor there. So let's take this away and discuss our next abomination, which is Ubisoft. Ubisoft managed to appease one person
on Twitter because
Twitter.
ableism, despite the fact that despite the fact that the Vikings were actually very much part of that, very much had that in mind because survival was an issue for them.
Right.
The longer, if you had major problems, then that made you not worth the resources to keep you alive, then you generally didn't get the resources in question. This is especially true of infants. Infanticide was in fact a thing in most Europe, or across most of the world.
Yeah.
And in fact, only in the late 20s, it only actually stopped being a thing so much in the 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
After it became possible to be able to feed all of the people who were that had issues.
And the image in the tweet in question has long since been deleted, but however, somebody managed to get a hold of it. Yep.
Because remember, folks, the internet never forgets. They'll figure if you put it online, they will figure it out.
And
hell, just about every one of my videos is mirrored someplace where I can't get to it and don't know about it.
And the stream should be seeing the tweet in question right now.
How about show me?
Show you? I'll show you. I'll show you.
Show me, you silly thing. We only got about 10 minutes left. Let's just get this. Let's just get this done.
Okay.
Because I have a thing that I want to be doing here in a little while.
Go.
Okay. Now this young lady, for lack of a proper YouTube friendly term, is absolutely being vicious, cruel, and obnoxious. Here's the fun part.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually about trying to drive men off the platform, out of video games, and that is never going to work.
Right.
More likely, you're going to get the backlash that you already got, because if I remember correctly, somebody restricted her Twitter account after they released this thing.
Yeah.
Mind you, Ubisoft took this one complaint from this lady, decided that it would be less expensive to just patch it out than it did to pay the people to hold the meeting in which they had to make that decision. And they said, okay, we'll just patch it. Ubisoft cucked to a single complaint. Just one. Do we have Ubisoft's tweet?
Yes, we do.
Let's have that now.
There you go.
Thank you so much for pointing this out. We apologize for unintentionally reinforcing ableism through this language. We will remove this language in an upcoming update. What the hell are you doing? You pride yourself on being as historically accurate as possible given the circumstances, but you're going to do that because somebody says that's offensive. It's ableist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't actually know what they're talking about at this point. I have I don't actually give all that much of a shit. But this is censorship for its own purposes.
Yep.
This is actually somebody being mad, and then Ubisoft censoring a thing and making it less accurate.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why is this a thing, Ubisoft? And I'm reasonably sure that, and actually, after this tweet was sent out by the Ascreed people, Ubisoft Montreal got swatted. I have no idea what's up with that, and I really hope they don't do that. They don't pull that shit again, because this is not helping. It's really not.
No.
You're not going to teach them a lesson that way. What you need to do is you need to spend less money on their products.
Yeah.
Or if you absolutely must spend money on their products, wait 2 weeks. 2 weeks. That's all you have to. That's all you have to hold out. 2 weeks. I didn't actually pay them for my copy of the standard edition of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Why? And I still have a copy. Well, how did this happen? Because I bought a CPU that happened to come with it. And I said, "Fuck it, I'm claiming it. I'm gonna have a look at it. I'm gonna bitch about it, and then I'm gonna uninstall it." All of these things happened. You were there for that conversation, Sanji.
Yes, I was. As a matter of fact, I picked out that CPU.
Which means you probably too have gotten have managed to put your hands on a copy of Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
I have not.
Wait, did they not give you one? You should have gotten one with A&D rewards.
Nope.
Oh.
Mainly because I still have my Ryzen 5 1600. I didn't buy a new one.
You did not buy the new. Okay, so you were going to buy the new one.
Mm-hmm.
And then did not.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the CPU works just fine. I have no qualms about having purchased it. They gave me a copy of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I was really not inclined to do much. I would not have bought it under any circumstances. That's just all.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna buy it, but not gonna buy any of their add-ons either. And don't get me started again about all the problems with Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Right.
It is a bug-laden mess that plays exactly like the last three. So no, let's not say we did. Actually, let's not and admit that we did not. Because I will happily admit that I did that. I didn't give it much. You minimized your application.
Yes, because we are going to move on to our final abomination for the last 3 minutes and change.
Hit me. Hard-hitting journalism here, folks. We're pulling a Tim Pool and just ragging on everybody else's shit. Oh yes, that patent application for the for dynamic difficulty that EA's being sued for.
Yeah.
They're not being sued over the patent, mind you. They're being sued over the application of said patent in FIFA and other similarly placed multiplayer games to
encourage
the purchasing of loot boxes.
Yes, and while we are not going to brace this with the kind of care that I usually do,
we shouldn't.
We shouldn't, and that's quite frankly all there needs to be said about it.
We will report that a class action lawsuit, a third one over FIFA specifically, because that being a thing. There was also a thing about Sony getting some Sony actually managing to secure from ActiBliz some benefit for PlayStation users over other things for Call of Duty.
Right.
Because of course the extra boosts and shit are going to make a whole lot of difference for people that are still shit at first person shooter games. Being manipulative on the part of Electronic Arts and their bullshit is of course a much bigger thing. Not that we don't expect this of EA, because EA is EA.
Unicron Arts.
You're a dog. Hello. The puppy bloopers have shown up again.
So,
yeah.
To close this out, let's have some final thoughts.
SJW levels of retardedness. How about that?
Yeah.
No, wait, I'm not supposed to use that word, am I? This is YouTube, and we're at the end of the stream. They probably wouldn't see it. If they do spot it, then your monetization is gone. Sorry about that, Sanji.
What monetization?
Half an hour ago when we started being massive dicks about the language we use.
What monetization? What? That's my question.
Oh, that's right. Your YouTube channel's not big enough to qualify for monetization, is it?
No, it's not.
Oh well, fuck it then.
I would like to thank Opal for being in the chat and supporting us through this hour and a half of mess. Actually, about an hour worth of mess. Anyway, Lord Crocker Squirrel, I'd like to thank you for joining us on the stream.
Yeah, somehow or another, I signed a contract I wasn't aware of. That's mostly okay, though, as long as I'm not sicker than dogs.
Yeah. I won't force work out of you.
Yeah. So you say.
I am Sanji Imura. I'd like to thank you for watching the W2 Report Live. Please enjoy the outro music for today. It is our standard fare of Mega Man X from Overclock Remix. Credit which will be in the description. Seizure.